all these million-dollar businesses have created a vision. They have a sense of where they want to go. So a couple of weeks ago, I was with a client, and the advisor was sharing his vision with his team. And the vision was the following: I want to maintain the same level of assets that I currently have, but I want to have half the clientele. So it kind of created an outline of where are we going to kind of go. And so, you know, when you do a puzzle, if you've got the big picture, it's a lot easier to put the pieces together. And so all of these million-dollar businesses have actually written and shared with their team what their vision is, which is important. This is an S-curve. And there are 5 points in this S-curve. Point A is laying the groundwork. Point B is things are in place, but you don't seem to be getting any results. Point C, you're flying. Point D, you're starting to plateau. Point E, you are plateauing, and if you stay on this S-curve or this growth curve, you will ultimately decline. And so it's always important to understand, when you look at your business, where are you on the S-curve? And because that will determine whether you need to make any significant changes. You see, as individual entrepreneurs, and that's what you all are, you're individual entrepreneurs in the financial services industry, you're all basically very rugged individuals. And so when you first came into this business, you were all by yourself. Some of you may still be all by yourself. By the way, how many actually have one full-time staff member? How many would have one full-time staff member? Okay, good. Okay, good number of you. Great, excellent. So what happens is you kind of hit this ceiling of complexity. You hit this point where there's just too many people, too many customers, too much to learn. I've got a zillion things to focus on, and as a result, you just can't seem to get to the next level because you hit that ceiling of complexity. So the trick is, and what these million-dollar businesses have all done, is they've figured out how to get to the next S-curve. And fortunately in your life, life is a series of growth curves or S-curves. And if you think back at your life, you've probably been through a number of them already. The trick is identify what are the things I'm going to stop doing that made me successful on the first S-curve, and what are the things I'm going to start doing that made me successful on the new S-curve. And that's really the key to all these folks that have million-dollar business today. They didn't start off that way. They started off just like you and I. And what they did is they kept growing their businesses and moving from one S-curve to another so that they could build a strategy, build a vision that would ultimately take them to their current level. Sometimes these S-curves, by the way, when you're making changes, you actually go backwards before you go forward. And this is always very difficult. When I'm in a coaching situation, I'm trying to hold people in, trying to say, my favorite expression is keep the faith, stay on the path. And so sometimes you'll actually find you go backwards before you go forward. But at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is raise your ceiling of complexity so that you've still got the same challenges: people, customers, technology, space, knowledge, focus. You've still got that. But what you're trying to do is leverage a growth strategy through innovative teamwork, so that instead of you doing it all, it's a combination of you plus 1 or 2 or 3 partners to take you to the next level. And as I mentioned, you get this period sometimes where it doesn't, we all like to push a button. We want instant gratification. How many of you read the book, The Wealthy Barber? I think it's The Wealthy Barber 2. Have you read the second one, the latest one he's come out with? One of the analogies he puts in here, which I think is absolutely spectacular. When you go to buy something, if you use a credit card, there's no pain when you buy it. And of course, it's a good feeling when you bought this item. Whereas if you use cash, you're trading off the pain, or balancing the pain with the purchase that you're about to make. And in today's society, we all think, well, we push this button and instantly we'll be into a new S-curve. And so sometimes what happens is you do have this period of time where you're not gaining traction. And you just have to kind of stay on your path, keep working at it, and then your unique teamwork will get you through that goal. And I've seen this time and time again with these million-dollar businesses, because at the end of the day, they get really strong focus on on-purpose strategies. really clear in their mind about what are the things, what are the stakes in the ground that I need to spend my time on to move the practice forward. Does your to-do list look anything like this? Okay? See, the problem in this business is you got a zillion hats to wear, haven't you? And so it's kind of important that you figure out which hat or hats am I going to wear, and which hats is someone else going to wear to help move the business forward. See, in time management challenges, a lot of the way, managing time, you can't manage time, really, can you? It's how you manage yourself with the time that you have that makes the difference. But when you look at these studies, what are the things that get in the way? Well, procrastination followed very quickly by admin and compliance. Has admin and compliance increased in the last 10 years or decreased? Unbelievable, isn't it? But it's a fact of life. And so sometimes we have too much work and there's a personal disorganization along the way. And so what I find these $1 million advisors do is they get very focused on what they're really good at doing with their on-purpose strategies. How many have seen this analogy? If I had a bowl here and I had some big rocks and some little rocks and sand, and if I put the sand in first, then I put the little rocks in, damn, I can't get the big rocks in. But if I flip it around and I put the big rocks in first, followed by the little rocks and the sand, I get them all in. You've seen that, right? Well, that's your challenge. And that's the challenge of the $1 million businesses, is to identify what are the big rocks that need to be moved, i.e. those rocks that only I can move. And from there, you can figure out who's going to look after the sand, who's going to look after the gravel, because it doesn't necessarily have to be you. And so the one common thing that when I see, I mean, I have one client who has over $3 million of revenue, and he's really clear on what his big rocks are. I'm telling you, very clear on what his big rocks are. And he's always got his names in front of him, his process in front of him, his centers of influence in front of him, his prospecting strategy in front of him, because he understands that that's what's going to drive the business.